you so much for being here.
Of course. And welcoming me into your home.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier to record in a home.
Yeah.
In my home, but also it's like for comfort.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like way more of a conversation.
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah. I love it.
You'd be surprised. People are like intimidated by, which I get. Like me being on the inside, like asking people to come on. At first, I'd get offended when people would say no because I'm like, what? It's like personal. It feels personal. But then I'm like, people just want to be in control of their narratives, which I totally understand. So what environment can I create for them
that feels comfortable,
so that they feel comfortable?
Yeah, totally. I think that's great.
Co-founder, co-CEO of SourMilk.
Oh yeah. Kirsten. Thank you for having me on. You also can call me Kiki.
Kiki, that's what you are in your emails.
Yes. But it is like, okay, so my co-founder, Alon, she set up our like Google Workspace, and so she made my name Kirsten. So whenever I respond to an email, it's like from Kirsten Couchman. But growing up, I've always been Kiki. My mom is Chinese, and my grandparents never spoke English, and so Kirsten was really hard for them. So it's just always been Kiki.
Wait, that's really cute.
Yeah, and I thought it was gonna like change in the professional world, but it's just stayed Kiki. So
even like in finance world,
yes,
Kiki.
Because so I had a friend who referred me to my previous firm where I worked, and she was a friend from college, and so she knew me as Kiki, and so she just introduced me to my like manager at the time as Kiki, like for an interview, and then I ended up taking the job, and then I was always known as Kiki, so it just like stuck. Yeah,
that's really cute.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, we were just like chatting about how you grew up in Sonoma, California.
Yes.
You went to Stanford. And it's so crazy. I feel like a lot of the women that have come on are from California that I've had on that are entrepreneurs, which is like, maybe it has something to do with the fact that will also probably help that you had so much time outside, probably in Sonoma. And you probably didn't have the invasion of technology like us Silicon Valley kids got earlier than maybe you guys out in Sonoma. And also that your dad worked on a dairy farm and
grew up on a dairy farm. His parents owned a dairy farm, and that was like, you know, he couldn't play high school sports because every morning he'd have to wake up at 5 a.m. and milk the cows, and then they'd have people milking the cows. You have to milk a cow 3 times a day, so then they'd have people milking the cow at like noon, and then he would get back from school and he'd have to milk the cow before he came in for dinner. So yes, he totally grew up on a dairy farm, and then ended up going into the wine industry just because dairy, we've seen a decline in dairy over the past 50 years. The past 2 years has been the first time where we've seen dairy sales sort of go back up because of all the protein craze, and I think this movement back towards, you know, real unprocessed foods in the outer aisles. Also like the seed oil stuff with oat milk and everything like that. People are now turning towards real dairy milk. But anyway, he moved into the wine industry, and so that's why I grew up in Sonoma.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
And has dairy always been like a really integral part of your upbringing?
I mean, I'm also half Chinese, as I said, and so like we're also very lactose intolerant in that way, and there's not as much dairy in the diet and with, you know, Chinese cooking.
Yeah.
But it's always been like a huge part of my family, right? Like growing up, Christmases were always on the dairy farm, and like my grandparents lived there until they were 94 years old. So like they lived there their entire lives. My uncle still is like the main farmer of the dairy farm. And so it's like on, you know, he doesn't get any days off, right? So on Christmas Day, like they'll be birthing a calf, and like that's just what's going on.
Yes.
And we'll all be like hanging out inside, and he'll have to go out and deal with that. So it's always just been like a thing. I never knew I was going to go into dairy. My dad's like, I didn't leave the dairy farm for you, my daughter, to go back into dairy. Right. I never thought that would be a thing, but here we are. So,
oh my gosh, but that's so full circle. And now like, I mean, obviously I want to get into like the conception of SourMilk, and maybe that's a good jumping starting point. But you even bring up a great idea of the fact that we have this protein craze. We're going back into where dairy's cool again and dairy's not cool. Like it's like being in the food industry, and like I feel like you guys are always sloshed around for like what is the new phase and what is the new trend. But what about yogurt was like such a spot for you? Has that always been like a fun, like it doesn't even need to be a good story anyways too. Sometimes it's just like people were like, I always would have yogurt after I would do my like practices, or was yogurt special to you, or was that an area that you always saw?
I mean, is yogurt special to me? Like now it's incredibly special. I would say I was always a yogurt fan, but it was never like I'm obsessed with yogurt and I need to make yogurt. But the real origin was like, me and my co-founder, we wanted to work on the microbiome, and gut health is incredibly important and a huge issue in the US. Like 2/3 of Americans have gut health issues.
Me.
Yeah, literally me, like everybody included, right? Like if you eat, drink, sleep on this planet in the US, like you will have gut health issues. I mean, antibiotics, eating sugar, drinking alcohol, living a sedentary lifestyle, like most of the things that many of us do on a day-to-day basis, if not even like an annual basis of taking a Z-Pack or something like that, like you will mess up your microbiome. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Like you can be bloated, or you might not be regular, or whatever it might be. But more than that, like having a messed up gut can lead to so many downstream effects down the line. Like they're finding studies linking it to dementia and Alzheimer's and chronic illnesses, cancers. And like 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. So if you find yourself getting sick, like take care of the root cause, which is actually your microbiome. And so my co-founder was actually going through a lot of these issues herself. She was actually having like a lot of hormone issues and other things, and realized it all stemmed from the microbiome. And so she started making yogurt to help heal her own gut. Because she looked on the shelf and saw none of the yogurt here actually has the bacteria that I need to help heal my gut. In the same way that like, hey, you wouldn't take vitamin K when you're sick. You take vitamin C, right? Or like, you know, you're deficient in vitamin D, you're not going to take zinc, right? You need to take vitamin D. Just because it's a vitamin doesn't mean it's going to actually help. The same thing is with bacteria and probiotics. So like she was, you know, deficient in this one strain. And so she started actually culturing specific bacteria strains. I know. She's insane. She's like a crazy health nut.
Was she what did she study at Stanford?
Computer science.
Oh,
but
it makes sense.
But like it's like the same like engineering brain. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she was a product manager before this at a tech company, and like same shit, you know? Like she totally like just took how she, you know, managed a product from end to end, and is now doing it with yogurt. Anyway, so she started making this yogurt to heal her own gut, and she saw tremendous benefits. And I was her roommate at the time in SF, and I was like, this is a crazy, weird COVID situation that's happening. But it actually helped her a lot, and helped me, and helped a lot of people in our lives. We never really thought it was going to be anything, right? It wasn't like, let's commercialize this. But when we were both looking at what was next for us, like earlier last year, it really became clear, like, this is the area we want to work on. Gut health is the area we want to work on. And yogurt is such a perfect vehicle for doing that. Like, let's just put the thing that can help heal you and put it in the thing you eat every single day. Plus, it's 15 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, you know, local grass-fed organic milk, like all the good things that your body needs. Yeah.
And when she started, like, culturing it in the apartment, at what point were you guys like selling it or just giving it to your friends?
No, it was honestly like she was just making it for herself as part of her daily diet. And like people would ask for it, and she'd sometimes like give it to them. But it was not like a small business. It was just like for herself, and if somebody wanted some, they would just take some, right? Like it was very chill.
Yeah.
It also didn't taste that good because she was making it at such a high potency for herself of bacteria that like it was really sour, and it's not something that I would like switch out my normal yogurt for, if that makes sense.
Totally.
You know, it was like medicine. Like food is medicine.
Yeah, right.
Not our yogurt now is like normal yogurt, right? Like because we need to make sure it's dosed correctly, where like it's the right amount of bacteria.
Their brains out or something.
Yeah, exactly, literally. And also it has to taste amazing. Like you can't get anywhere in food if it doesn't taste good. So
is that where the origin of SourMilk came from?
The name? Yeah, totally. Well, we actually had a different name, and then we got a cease and desist. So that's also drama.
Nice.
But then it was like, okay, this is an opportunity to rename and have like a totally different, now that we know the yogurt aisle more, we know that you need to grab your attention, because most people just go to the thing that they know. It's a commodity aisle too, where it's a race to the bottom. Everybody is trying to get the cheapest thing. Most people just buy what's on sale, like as a consumer. And so we need to be able to like snap you out of your daily habit of just like grabbing the cheapest, or grabbing the white one, or grabbing the purple one. And we thought that SourMilk is like a really good way to do that. Is like it evokes like this uncomfortable response in almost every single person, which means it's going to be memorable, but it will also stop you for 2 seconds in the aisle, enough so you can pick up the package and actually look at what we are. And then, yes, we want you to be reminded. SourMilk reminds you of like, it's like sourdough. It's like sauerkraut. These things are fermented. Like, why is sourdough better on your stomach than a normal bread? It's because it has this alive fermented aspect that we have with sour milk.
Absolutely. And have you reaped some of the benefits of like every single day eating?
1,000%. I've reaped the benefits.
Like more regular?
For
like
sure.
What are some of the...
For sure. All the things. Like less bloating. Like totally. We have so many women who eat our yogurt. Also men. But women we get this feedback from. They're like, oh my God, this is like the flat tummy yogurt. Like I feel...
Oh my God, the array.
Yes.
Array
literally.
yogurt.
It's the array. It's like, we're like the modern Activia is like what we're trying to say.
Wait, that's
we
good.
all forgot about Activia, but yes, we're the modern one with no sugar added and higher protein. So yeah, definitely. We're actually running an observational gut health study right now for 80 different customers, where we're basically giving free yogurt for them to eat every single day for 2 weeks, but they have to do a daily survey where they like track their poop, what they ate, like how they're feeling.
Okay.
Just for us to get some data on like at what point, after how many days of eating it, will you feel better?
Yes.
What does that look like? Like all those types of things.
I mean, it's so impressive. You guys are obviously so business minded, because the fact that you're backing your business with like true science and statistics, like you're not just like saying, because this is an issue that I have with the dairy industry in general and with yogurts even, with the listing of all the bacterias, and you look at it and you're like, oh, this has to be good for me. Like kefir has to be good for me.
Right. You
Why
don't
is it
know.
good for me? There's like 20 grams of sugar, and like what is it even doing? And so I continuously buy it, and then I'm like, wait, I'm actually not feeling any different. And just because it has these like few bacteria strains,
right? Does it
on the back
actually
that
help?
aligns with my probiotics that I take, that also I'm like, I don't know why I take these either. Does it actually work? And
totally.
So that's great that you guys are like running studies.
And like we're only choosing bacteria that we think are like that have been clinically studied, right? So it's like we don't have the money to do a clinical trial ourselves,
right?
But we can choose the strains that already have clinical trials behind them and clinical studies, and then we can run our own observational studies on top of that. And then the other thing that we've really done is like what you said is very true. Like, what does this thing do in your body, right? And so we, on our packaging, instead of just listing our ingredients, we listed each ingredient and what it does for you. So that way there's much more transparency in what you're consuming.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's another movement too. Like I just had a woman who owns her own beauty company come on, and she's like, every single ingredient is like super intentional.
Right.
And that is like the first thing that people come up to me and ask me about, is like, why did you put this in there? And I'm like, wow, we are like putting a freaking magnifying glass on ingredient lists these days on everything.
Yes.
Like we've just hit a whole nother extreme. We're like, hopefully we'll find a middleman. Like, yes, of course, I think we need to hold our food industry more accountable, and it starts with business owners, because obviously they're FDA, like they're not going to do anything about it. If it's not going to go top down, it's going to have to start consumer up. And like you guys are like definitely pioneering this era of, was that always a mission for you guys to be really transparent with ingredients? And
it's definitely transparency across the board. So it's like, yes, our ingredients, but also the way that we're telling our story and the way that we're building in public. Like that's another huge thing is, you know, I started sharing that I was going to quit my job in private equity to start a yogurt company with my best friend, like November of last year, 1 year ago. And we didn't have product until June. So I had like 8 months of sharing my story online every single day as to what we were doing, what decisions we were making, like all these things. And so transparency, yes, in our product, but also in our process in the company that we're building. Because I think there's a lot of like, number one, you can't sell anything without, I think, a story or people actually understanding. The consumer is so much more educated and discerning these days because there's so much content online.
And options.
Yes, so many options, so much content. And so I think we knew that was critical, like in order to get any customers to really like believe in us and want to buy into this and actually like see the value in it, they had to like understand why we were doing everything, not just like what we were doing, basically.
And that was from the, like, was that, how did you guys even know before fully launching, like you needed to build your personal brand? Was this something you learned in university, or was this just like a preference of like how you've seen other business owners start? I
mean, I think that there's a lot of companies, like we're doing this very unconventionally, and I think a lot more people are now doing this. So I think it's awesome. But like we have a perishable product that's refrigerated. So upon time of production, you have 8-week shelf life left. It is refrigerated. It is dairy. It like you can't buy it online. You can't do a D2C because I can't ship it refrigerated to your house in California. And so unlike a lot of our other friends in the CPG space that can literally just like launch a product and then ship it across the world and just like see, or keep it in a warehouse for a year because it doesn't matter. We have to do a production run every month because we will expired product. And so I couldn't just do a production run and hope to God that it was going to sell. Like I had to create a virtual line out the door of demand, outsized demand before we ever dropped a product. So our goal was to have 2,000 emails zip coded to New York City before we ever did a product launch. Right. And so
how did you even know that? Like, that's just like, you're thinking so
well, honestly, Faith, it's like, I say this with like the utmost respect for every founder who creates something in the food space in the CPG world. It is a simple problem. It is supply and demand.
Yeah.
Truly. And like to have a really good, you have to have a really good product supply. You have to have a very optimized supply chain where it's very efficient in terms of like your cost of goods sold and how much you're spending on that. And then you need to have a really good demand, and that's created by marketing, that's created by your messaging, that's created by your packaging. But ultimately, like that's it. Like that's the equation here. We're not in like, you know, back in some other type of company where there's a lot of other levers to pull. Like that's kind of the things, right?
Yeah.
And so we knew that like we needed to create more demand than we had supply. And at some point that's going to be an issue because we're going to be out of stock and we're going to be missing out on sales and all of these types of things. But at least we are out of stock, and at least we, you know, don't have yogurt on the shelf that's like rotting and the expiration date is going back.
Yeah, you'd rather have more demand.
Exactly. And like the other thesis that we have is people want to follow a person and not a brand. And that's not something I was taught or like knew, right? It was just like, you look around in the world, like regardless of your political beliefs, you know, Trump is a bigger deal than the Republican Party. Mamdani is a bigger deal than like the Democratic Socialist Party. Like most people don't know what that is. They just want to follow a figure and they don't actually care about the brand so much. And I think we're in a world where people are tired of being sold to. And so I knew, Alana and I looked at each other and we're like, one of us is going to have to be an influencer. Who's it going to be? Like nose goes, basically.
Wow.
Neither of us had created content before, but we thought our first few videos are going to flop. We might as well start like 6 months before we ever launch a product. And so I made my first TikTok. I was like lucky that my first TikTok got like 100K views. And then I was like, okay, it's me. It's not you, Milan. You know, like it doesn't, in the best way possible. Like it took her like 5 hours to make one video. And I was like, this is a bad use of our resources here.
It is.
And so then I just started building in public. And like, I'm still small, but like, for example, my Instagram has 20,000 followers and like SourMilk's has 7,000, which is like great. Because we launched on our first grocery store shelf last week and we already have 7,000 followers. And the way people have found us is through me, right? Like I've had to like skewer myself to become an influencer to some extent, but I'm able to be top of funnel where not everybody cares about, they don't think they care about yogurt, but all of a sudden they like care about this girl who's like starting a company and she quit her job, her corporate job. And I want to quit my corporate job. And oh my God, she's 27 and lives in the West Village. Like, what does that look like? And like, here's lessons from like, you know, bootstrapping a business. Oh my gosh, I'm so intrigued. Oh, and it's yogurt. I eat yogurt every day. I never thought I would care about yogurt. Cool. Let me follow the SourMilk story and like see what that's about. So like there's definitely, we've like seen that work as like my personal being a top of funnel for our yogurt brand.
Wow, just so intentional, step after step. Like
for sure. I know we were talking about
that's like innate though. Like that's like in your DNA. Like I feel like
you're giving me a lot of credit for this.
I mean, like I do interview a lot of I've interviewed quite a few founders, and like everybody has their own unique way. But like yours is like systemic, like academic. Like you guys are like,
oh, we're like surgeons about this. Surgeons. Like we are like, oh, there's not. Which is so funny because sometimes I get like frustrated. I'm like, oh, I just can't wait till we're like a big company and people are like, wow, those girls were like smart. They made every decision, you know, to get here.
Yeah.
But like we're still small and it's like, oh, Kiki's the influencer. Do you know what I'm saying? There's like a lot of silliness that's involved in a lot of what we're doing, especially as like two young women. We haven't raised money. Like we've never been in this space. We're doing yogurt. It's called SourMilk. Like there's so many things that are playful and funny and fun about this. And at the same time, everything is very strategic. Oh my gosh, no. And it's so fun. I'm like not at all, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you and your co-founder like balance? Was that interesting? Were you friends prior to
we
this?
were totally, we were like best friends. We met like I mean, Stanford is small. So like we were in the same social scene since freshman year, but then we became really close junior year. We met at a nutrition class, and then we lived together post grad for 2 years, and we're just like totally best friends, and then moved here.
Like, do you take more of a finance role and she takes
no
more of a...
Also, like, I wasn't an investor when at my previous firm. I worked in portfolio operations, so I worked with like all of our portfolio companies. I would say that I take more of, we do everything together, and I think that's like a really important thing. Where
that's hard.
It's hard, and we definitely don't have overlapping skill sets. Like, at first I was worried, but I'm like, oh, we both have our own domain. But we got advice from some other 2 co-founders very early on that you should do as much as possible together for as long as possible. It's the least efficient way to go about it, right? It'd be easier to divide and conquer, but it's really important to be dangerous in all areas of the business as co-founders, because pretty soon, within a year, you are going to like maybe hire other people, contract things out, specialize between the 2 co-founders. But like, no matter what, you should be able to trust your co-founder to go into any room and be able to talk about the numbers, the marketing, the supply chain, the product, all those things. And you need to be able to make those decisions together and understand why you make those at first. So we try to do everything big together. And then separately, like, again, going back to the supply and demand model, I'm on demand, she's on supply. Like, she holds the relationship with our co-manufacturer. She calls up all of the dairy farms, all of those things. I'm on social media every single day. I'm doing the majority of the podcasts, the outreach, like all those things is just much more the front facing.
Yeah. The macro stuff you guys do together, the micro you do independently.
Yeah.
Like where your strengths are. Where do you guys like source from? Is it upstate New York?
All upstate New York.
Amazing.
Local farms. We literally have to go like door to door at the farms, because like no farms have like you can just like look up a CRM of like farms.
Have a phone number?
Like barely. You have to like, we actually like, I swear we are just like,
talk to us about this, because this is like really interesting to me of like understanding how you guys.
My God, it's crazy.
But did it help you knowing that you have?
It helped early on. Just to be like, because dairy farmers are like, who are these like young city slickers who are like literally, because they're all like, no, literally they're all like 65-year-old men, you know, because like most of them have kids who are not going to inherit the farm, so they're figuring out what to do with it, which is really sad.
Just sustainable, like,
it's amazing, but it's really hard work. Like, we're dealing with that in our family too. It's like no, it's such hard work. Milk market is always hard to know. It's a commodity. It's like really the floor price is set by the government every single month. And so this isn't like
I didn't even know that.
Right, exactly. Like most people don't know that, you know. Of course you can like trade up, you know, there's like higher prices that can be demanded depending on the markets, but yes, it's crazy. It's a hard life, right? It's very physical. But honestly, I'm like, maybe we'll be going back to that with like all the other jobs becoming, you know, AI-atized or whatever. But yeah, the way that we find our dairy farmers is by word of mouth. So like we go upstate, that's where we make our yogurt, and we actually drive, and when we see cows, we literally pull over. Kid you not. We pull over into the driveway, and usually there's like the farmer has to live on the property, right? So there's a house. So we go into the house, we usually knock on the door, and like we meet someone, and half the time they're not an organic farm, 75% of the time, but they know somebody who is an organic farm. And so then they give us the contact for, you know, Susie and Bob down the road. And then we drive down the road and we knock on their door, and they say, okay, yeah, like, you know, we have a contract with Organic Valley or Horizon for the next 5 years, but we could potentially divert a little bit of milk to you, or we can't. And so talk to this person down the road. And then we drive down the road and we talk to that person. Literally, that is exactly what happens. Like, we were up in upstate New York 2 months ago, and that is what we spent 2 days doing while our yogurt was being fermented in the factory. And then like Alana and I looked at each other, we're like, we need to schedule more time to get more farmers. And so we're going back up next month, and we're going to do the same thing.
Because the current farmers you guys are using today you've maxed out your
capacity
from them.
Yeah. And it's like, for any supplier network, it's better to have more, right? In case one goes down, right? You want to make sure you have backup.
Oh, true. If like the whole batch is bad or
right.
something.
Or just like, let's say some of the cows get sick or something, like something happens, right? You want to make sure you always have diversity in your suppliers and your supply chain. And so
does that lead to inconsistency of product?
No, because you still have to test the product at every point. So it's like, if there's a sick cow, like you need to move out, you have to move the cow out. And like, let's say you get you get milk from a bunch of different farms. It all goes to the factory, and the factory measures the components. So milk is like priced on components, which is like fat, like the sugar, right? And then protein. But like fat and protein are the most important parts. And we always make sure we have the same like fat percentage to protein percentage ratio, right? So even if it comes in, the milk comes in all askew and on different fat percentages and different protein percentages, you make sure that you can like get it. You like homogenize it. You basically like take out enough of the fat, so you make sure the ratio is correct.
And who's doing that part?
Our factory does that
Your
part.
factory.
They have this like fancy machinery that does it. Yeah. And this is a very standard procedure in any yogurt or any milk processing plant of any type.
So interesting. Like I feel like so many of us eat yogurt and like,
oh, you have no idea.
But
like you see on the back of a yogurt, it's 2% fat, it's 5% fat. Guess what? When the grass is much greener in the springtime, you're gonna get a higher fat percentage in your milk
and
naturally.
Do they change the label then?
No, and that's why it all goes to the factory, and they take out enough so it's like the right ratio. They rehomogenize it, and so it's always uniform, right? It comes in non-uniform, and then they like fix the components by like extracting some of the fat or extracting some of the protein.
This is fascinating.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because you need to have it homogenized always. This is the same, or like uniform, and then yeah.
Okay, in organic and non-organic farms, what
is the main difference?
Classifies something as organic, and why aren't more people organic?
It's really hard to be organic. Okay. It's expensive to be organic. The land you have to be on has to have been organic for 3 years before that happening. Okay. There's a lot of like components to making it organic. Number one being you can't treat your animals with antibiotics or any type of medicine. So there's a few, I guess there's like a few consequences to that. Number one, being in a cold, damp environment is really hard for organic farmers because you get sick more often. And if your cow gets sick, you have to separate it from the herd entirely, and you hope that it doesn't spread to anybody else because you can't use medicine on them in an organic farm. And so that's really difficult. Number two is then like having a big herd put you at risk, right? For more outbreaks of any type. And again, you can't use medicine. And so the way that the milk economy works right now is like, it's really hard to make money unless you're a really big farm. And really big farms, it's really difficult to be organic. Yeah, there are some that are in the West more, like in drier environments, it's a bit easier to be organic, but that's another. Another is the amount of grass that they're fed. So they need to make sure that they're pasture fed for at least 50% of the time. There's like a bunch
monitoring all of this to like,
there's like a whole certification
door to door.
Yeah. I mean,
to ensure that people are keeping up with the organic standards, or like, how do you,
there's like, I actually don't know like the frequency in which that's happening, but to get the organic certification, it's pretty robust, and you have to make sure, there's a lot of things that they have to check out on. They have to come and check out the farm, all those types of things. The things that go door to door, like the health inspectors and those types of things, they'll do drop-ins. Organic milk is really hard. And it's in high demand right now, and it's in low supply. And so like you call it, like it's short. The organic market is short, meaning there's not that much right now of organic milk. And so you can demand higher prices, and farmers that's why we have to go door to doors. We have to, ask them to sell to us.
Yes.
Which makes it's crazy. It's like, we're begging people to sell to us, right? It's like, we're giving them money, right? But it can be a big hassle, especially when you're first starting out, because you have to figure out the logistics. You have to figure out who's going to pick up the milk. You're going to have to figure out at what cadence. You're going to have to figure out, is it just like a percentage of their supply? Is it all of their supply? All those things. So
it's like a series of negotiating.
Yeah. Of just like what's possible. It's not even like a hard negotiation. It's just like what makes sense. Like if they already have a buyer who's going to come and pick up 100% of their milk on a weekly basis, has a truck route that stops at their farm every week. Yeah. So much easier, right? They would just choose that guy. And that's like the much bigger players. So
wow, that's just, oh my gosh, it's just so fascinating on the intricacies of, I mean, it makes sense, like it's a perishable product, it's dairy, like it makes sense. But then once you like really break it down, I'm like, even more credit to you guys. Like that is just so, there's so much more. Did it blow your mind how many steps there was in terms of with a perishable product?
It makes you think about everything else that you eat so much, and it's such a different lens, right? Yeah. Like we have ultimately 2 ingredients, and it's milk and bacteria. And the type of bacteria we use, there's like a bunch of different types. And so there's more ingredients than just that. Mm-hmm. But like, it's really just 2 things, right? That we have to source and figure out. Then you look at like a cracker and there's like 500 different ingredients.
Yeah, right.
Right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, they have to take so much time to negotiate the contracts for all these different things. They have to make sure it's all coming to the warehouse at the same time. Like all these things. I'm so glad I'm working with like a very simple, in a way, product.
Okay, yeah. So
even though, yes, it's perishable. We have our own difficulties, but it's okay.
Ingredient lists can be extremely short.
Right. Like we're not going to have, like we will have someone on supply chain because down the line, because we're perishable and we have to be refrigerated and that's our issue. But then someone like a David's protein bar, they have, you know, I don't know, upwards of 20 people on their supply chain team because they have so many ingredients that they all have to source
They're
from.
live on TikTok every single day too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm like, what is happening here?
It's crazy.
And their bars are $6 at every bodega. It's insane.
But good for them. Good. They're killing it.
They are killing it.
Yeah.
The guy's the RX bar guy.
I know. So they had a lot of funding out the gate.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Easy bootstrap right there.
Literally.
Was there anything that shocked you about the food industry or maybe specifically like the yogurt industry that you're like, whoa, we are really going to be like good advocates for positive change in this space, or nothing that would like shock anybody compared to what are the big ones like Chobani's and
I mean, I would say that like there are a lot of the biggest thing that I've learned is that yogurts don't have the right probiotics to help heal your gut. And I think a lot of people are under the assumption that I eat yogurt, great, that's probiotic, right? It's going to help me. And ultimately it's sort of like the analogy that I mentioned at the beginning. It's like, you're not going to have vitamin K when you're sick. You're going to have vitamin C, right? And like our yogurts have the equivalent of a vitamin K. And most of our guts are kind of sick and we need the vitamin C. So we need those specific probiotics. And I think that's like a big thing that I didn't realize that I want most people to realize. And then the other thing is like, there's a lot of yogurt companies that pasteurize after fermentation, right? Like they ferment their yogurt with all these great bacteria and then they kill it all to increase shelf life. And so
why would they even ferment it then?
Because that's how you turn milk into yogurt. Like you can't just like take
and ferment
milk.
is just it sits there, or what exactly is going on? Okay.
What happens is like the way you make yogurt is you basically put in the bacteria into milk, you raise it to a certain temperature, you keep it at that temperature for 5 hours or 6 hours or 3 hours or whatever amount of time. And that's the fermentation process. And what that does is it multiplies the bacteria over the course of that time in like a heat controlled environment.
It works fast.
Yeah. Yes. Literally so fast.
Ew.
Literally ew. You think about it too long and you're like,
gross.
Oh, gross.
How can it like multiply that quickly?
Literally gross. I mean, it's like cheese, like any of those things. I'm like, oh, it's alive, you know? And then you strain out the whey so it's thick to make Greek yogurt, for example. And then from there on, there's still alive bacteria, right? That's like why it can help your gut. That's why all these things. But then there's an 8-week shelf life because it's alive to some extent.
Right.
If you then, after you strain out the whey, if you just heat it, pasteurize it to a certain temperature, you can kill all the bacteria. So you still have the texture of the yogurt.
Does it taste the same or maybe less?
It's like if you taste any of the like Danimals, right? Or like any of those types of things. Yeah. Or like Yoplait or like any of those yogurts. Like
Runnier.
But those, and that's like less because they weren't strained, but it's more just like, you know, but to increase shelf life.
Defense, they're not after probably the target market that you're after. They're
not at all
probiotic. Like,
not at all.
Let's heal your gut.
They're like an ice cream alternative.
Yes.
And there's so much sugar. That's another thing. It's like
Yoplait.
There is so much sugar, and not even in Yoplait. Like Le Fermier, which is like a fancy yogurt.
In the little jars.
Yeah, there's 18 grams of sugar in one of those little jars. Like that's
crazy.
From the jam? Yeah, from any of the flavor. It's just like the sugar in it.
What?
I know. So that's another thing is I'm like such an advocate for just buy plain yogurt and put your own honey on it. Put your own bananas. Put your own fruit. Like just do that, you know?
No, the Yoplait, the like white chocolate one.
Oh my God.
I like lived off of that.
As a kid, I know. I was like, I had the key lime pie whipped one. Like,
but that's why I don't like key lime pie from that Yoplait.
Really?
Yeah, I got sick off of it.
Loved it. Yeah, ate it so much.
Do you hope like one day to have your own farm and like your own cows? Is that like a vision?
No.
You always want to be...
Maybe,
You just want to be on shelves.
Yeah. Like my hope is like that we really can be food as medicine, that like we can be in all the places that you shop for your food, and we are delicious and we're incorporated into everybody's daily diet and daily habit. And you don't need to take a supplement anymore. You don't need to take a pill, probiotic, or a green powder, or a scoop of like fermented coconut goop. You can just eat our yogurt and that can heal your gut.
Yeah.
And that should be ubiquitous across the US. So it's like less about the farming aspect and it's way more about how do we make sure. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And heal your gut. Are you like, what does that mean? Like for me, I have like chronic constipation.
There you go.
Would it be someone from like would it be like people with IBS, like from constipation to the other side, or like
all of the above? Like
all the above.
Honestly,
Wow.
in a sense of all of the above.
That's a
wide range.
Wide undertaking. Yeah.
1,000%. Like we're starting small, but like I think there's so much room in this space for like down the line. I would love if it could be like there's customization.
That's what I was about to ask.
Exactly. But like we're not there yet. But yeah.
Oh my God. If I literally saw a yogurt that said for constipation, you would never see that yogurt. I would buy it every single week. Nobody would ever get to it.
By the way, I brought you some yogurt before I forgot.
Oh, you're so
sweet. Yeah.
Wait, yeah. Where are you, by the way? In New York?
Happier Grocery.
Yes.
Jubilee Marketplace, which is in Greenpoint.
Amazing.
Literally, we launched in Happier on Wednesday. We sold out within 24 hours.
That's incredible.
And they like literally 5x their order. You can buy it online. So you can go to SourMilk.com and you can buy it online. You just have to come and pick it up. You have to choose a pickup time and location. Yeah. So I just came from one in the West Village from 5:30 to 6:15 outside of the Greenwich Ave Equinox. And there were 6 people that had bought yogurt and had planned to come for that time and chose that time. We send a calendar invite. They know to come at that time. I bring the amount of yogurt. I sit outside of the Equinox and I meet them and I give them their yogurt. We've sold 8,000 yogurts hand-to-hand delivery over the past 3 months doing that. Yeah. So when I say we've built a following, we are doing that for that reason. So that way, and then we came to Happier Grocery and we said, hey, you're brand additive to us. You're not you're a great grocery store. You are, the Erewhon of New York, so to speak. And we think we'll bring in a differentiated customer to you because we've already sold 8,000 yogurts hand to hand. We're going to bring those customers into your grocery store. You're going to be our first grocery store. So we're funneling all those people into your store. It was obviously a yes from them, right?
Yeah,
that's an obvious yes.
They don't see those numbers from other brands.
No. Sure. Yeah. So they said yes. So we started stocking their store on Wednesday. That was our opening day there. And now we'll always be in Happier Grocery, restocking their store. We thought, okay, where else is there a really high concentration of our customers? Williamsburg and Greenpoint. Great. Jubilee Marketplace. If you haven't looked it up, you should look it up. They also have 20K followers. They're a big grocery store that's more of an interesting model where they've been building in public, and the founder really is super transparent about supporting local businesses, or if their prices are too high, this is why, or just shares a lot about what for the community. So they're kind of
aligned in
exactly
both your values.
They're more of a real grocery store. Not that Happier is not a real grocery store, but Happier is a very bougie place, know?
It's aesthetic.
Yeah. And Jubilee is a little bit more normal, know? But we launched there today. So we just brought 10 cases of yogurt and we'll see how that sells, and we'll just keep bringing. We're starting to give little Easter eggs in different coffee shops around the city. So we just launched in Fonte's, which is a deli in the West Village, which is a new hot deli. So things like that. We'll see.
And imagining partnerships with juice press for you
totally.
Guys.
All those things. Yeah. Definitely. We would love to be in every Juice Generation, Juice Press, Earth Bar, every Equinox, Lifetimes. If you think about, okay, you want to grab a yogurt. We do so many collabs with, I just did one with SLT this morning, or Soul Cycle Solid Core. We do a lot of sampling with them, but if we just lived in their fridges, that would also be great. So
what does it take to live in their fridges?
Those are more national buyers. So something like Happier Grocery, they're based here in New York. They have one store. We meet the buyer. They say yes. It's a lot easier. Soul Cycle, there's their HQ in Austin, Texas, or something like that. We'd have to meet the buyer there and go through that. So
do you ever send cases to their HQ?
We don't do it because of refrigeration. We just have created a hard line in the sand as to what we'll say yes to and what we'll say no to. And that's something that it's not worth it. Right now, I would love to be in Soul Cycle nationwide, but we actually don't get to benefit from the word of mouth that we've created here in New York. We've created this buzz that's bigger than our company because we do these drug deal models. I get yelled at on the street all the time in the best way. I wear this backpack and like, girls stop me. I love your content, or I'm obsessed with your yogurt. Your yogurt girl, like everywhere, right? Like I can't leave my house without that happening.
So amazing.
And so if we move beyond New York, we actually don't get to benefit from that in the same way. And so,
but eventually you're gonna have to give that up. Yeah,
we will.
Right now, it's
definitely.
so precious.
It's so, and it's not even that it's precious. It's like back to the strategic thing. Like I only have $0, right? We've bootstrapped this company, so if I'm gonna put my focus anywhere, it's gonna be here because that's where we've built this following. That's where we've already created the demand without spending a dime. If I move to California, like we're going to have to spend more money on marketing. That's just what's going to happen, right? Even if there's a market there, no one will know about us in the same way. And so until we've created a big enough splash in New York, I'm not going to look beyond to the Northeast, to the Mid-Atlantic, to the Florida, to California, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Wow. You're not making any money off of SourMilk?
We have completely bootstrapped this. Alana and I have put in our own savings. We haven't taken outside funding from investors. Yeah. And so we don't put in money to like marketing, for example.
So even if you are making money, it's getting reinvested.
Exactly.
Do you intend on taking outside investment?
Down the line,
this is a question that I get varied answers on from founders.
I mean, I would love not to ever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to ever have to write an investor update every quarter. I don't want to have
know how much like dilution. And
oh my God, of course.
You've been on that side.
Yes, totally. It's like, I don't want that. I don't want, and like clock starts then. You know what I'm saying? Does. Versus like,
it's like sales with a quota. Now you like really have a quota. Yes. Like F. You get fired.
Exactly. And it's like, I feel protective over my vision, but it's more like, there's different ways we want to build it. And so many ways are going to be a little bit more unconventional. And the second we have investors breathing down our neck, like it's like, okay, they might have different demands and expectations. So I'm not like opposed, and we will need capital to grow, right? Like that's just what, in order to go to Whole Foods nationwide, which we will have to do, like I can't just do that myself, right? Like we have to put up a lot of upfront money. But like, it just has to make sure that we're aligned with the right investor. So
is there a particular mentor that you guys have, or like a guide, even if you don't know them, of like, I really like their brand, I like how they're doing things?
There's a lot of CPG brands that we definitely look up to in different ways. Like, you know, one that's a little ahead of us is Alex Ice Cream. I think they're doing a really awesome job, and they're also in the dairy space. They're an A2 dairy. They actually like manufacture close to my hometown. Oh my gosh. I know, in Petaluma. And I think they just have like amazing product ice cream. So you should check them out.
Yeah.
So I think they're really awesome. I think like everybody knows Graza, but I think that they've done something really interesting to the olive oil aisle that I would love to do to yogurt, which is like, they had a commodity. Olive oil, I mean, it was worse than yogurt, right? Like there's at least some brand loyalty in yogurt. People just like went to the olive oil aisle and they would just get like whichever one. They have no idea. You couldn't even ask me what brand name I bought before Graza. Graza came in and innovated on the packaging, but more so they now have like something interesting that catches your eye. And now they've actually created like a loyalty to a brand in this total sea of like random glass and plastic dark green jars, you know?
Yep.
And I would love to be the same in the yogurt aisle, where it's not just like people pronounce Faye like phage. I'm like, what yogurt do they eat? They're like, I don't know, the Greek yogurt, like phage, or like the purple one, you know? And I'm like, what?
Like,
you know?
It sounded like it was a dude that was saying that.
Literally always. And I'm like, I would just love to be able to stop people and like create a new habit and, you know, be able to create some brand loyalty in this aisle that is so.
The only problem you're ever going to have is people are going to be like, you're the yogurt girl. And they're like, what's your yogurt called? I just know you as the yogurt girl.
Literally.
You're going to be such a great, like, just archetype for your PR, for your own brand.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest thing for you? You and your co-founder? Was there something like on the marketing side, packaging, any area that you guys were like finding it was struggling to be creative, like hitting roadblocks?
I was like surprisingly hard or like unexpected parts is the amount of manual labor that goes into this.
Yeah. Carry that backpack everywhere.
Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. Oh, no. It's so heavy. The backpack itself is not heavy, but yogurt is heavy.
Yogurt's heavy.
So that's really hard, and we're doing everything. We're delivering ourselves. So it's like Happier Grocery wants 15 cases. Okay, we're delivering that, right? We're packing it and we're delivering it on our backs or on city bikes. And so that's like been the unexpected part, is we're just like literally crushing our activity goals every single day.
No equinox needed.
No equinox needed. Also, what's hard is the best and worst part of this is how close you are to your customers. Like I said, we do this drug deal model. And so it's like I meet 60 customers a day. I talk to all 60 of them. I'm such a people pleaser. So it's like I'm always going to give them energy and engage them. And why do you like yogurt? What type do you like? And I love learning about it. And I love being close to customers. But it drains me so much.
Yeah.
Like by the end of the week, it's just as, I think the hardest part is like, I just am not the same social person that I was before I started this company.
You probably really stretched your like
I can't.
capacity.
Yeah, literally. It's a Saturday night and I'm like, I can only hang out with my boyfriend, my sister, or like my closest friends. Otherwise, like there's no like dinner party with 10 people where like the 8th and 9th and 10th person I'm like kind of know well. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do any more of those conversations.
I honestly feel very similar. Like I feel really
I'm sure in sale. I'm sure too.
Yeah, I'm just like we have enough going on. It really allows you to like be going back to the whole like consumers are being much more discerning over what they're buying and what's in things. Same with us. When the busier you are, the more discerning you are with
who you spend time with.
Time is the most valuable commodity we will ever have over money, over anything. It's where you spend your time.
It's true.
And I totally understand and relate to you. So tell everybody, can you remind everybody where they can find you?
Yes.
In New York City.
Yes.
And then I'll drop all of your links in the bio as well, so people can find you and buy you. And then if you're allowed to say any places that you're going to be in coming up too, so we can keep an eye out.
Totally. Right now you can buy us at Happier Grocery in Soho, Tribeca area on Broadway, West Broadway and Canal, Jubilee Marketplace in Greenpoint, and a number of random coffee shops around New York City. So just keep your eyes out. Bunch in the works, so like I'm not going to name specific ones. And then hopefully you can order us online soon via DoorDash and GoPuff. Keep an eye out for that. Incredible. But then in the meantime, just go to SourMilk.com and you'll see all the different like drop locations that we do around the city.
And how many flavors do you have?
Just one, plain. 0 grams of added sugar, 15 grams of protein,
Amazing.
And your daily probiotic supplement. Yeah.
Wait, and then my last question.
Okay,
how do you like to have your yogurt?
Oh my God, so many different ways. I actually like do a little series on my Instagram, so go look. Cute. Yes. Currently, I'm in this fixation of Manuka honey, chia seeds, and yogurt. And then the chia seeds like aren't, you know how they get like jelly? Sometimes they're not like that. They're like still crunchy because I just pour it directly in. Yeah. And I really like that. So that's like a random niche right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, love. I'm going to follow that series now.
Please.
Thank you so much for coming on. You're so well spoken.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're going to kill it. You guys are going to continue to crush it.
I appreciate it. I'm really
excited for you.
It's fun. It's really fun. Yay. Thank you for having me.
Of course.